everyone, and welcome to this week's Culture Report. I'm Jamal Simon.
I'm DeMarco Randall.
And I'm Antonia Velez.
She's back
I am.
from Colombia.
I know you missed me. I know you missed me.
I miss you so much. Why would you leave?
You know, family, friends, things like that.
Living life.
Not really that important.
How refreshing was it to see your family and friends?
Oh my goodness, it was so necessary, especially because like Colombia is beautiful like in any time of the year.
Yeah.
So it was just so nice to go there and like be in the mountains and yeah, it was great.
What were the vibes like with the Copa going on?
Oh my gosh, the vibes were crazy. The Copa America is like one of the biggest sensations in Colombia and like a lot of other countries, obviously. But Colombia made it to the finals, if y'all didn't know. And so Medellin, did you?
I don't know what it is, y'all. I saw the articles. I don't know what it is.
It's a huge soccer tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. Football.
Anyway, long story short, Colombia made it to the finals against Argentina, and sadly we lost. But we're going to get them next time.
I won because she brought me back some little snackies. I'm still working my way through. She had this one little thing of like little biscochitos, like little biscuits, and I said, "Girl, this is 450 calories in this tiny
Why
little
would
bag."
you care? Why would you care?
She's like, "No, that's per 100 grams." I was like, "Why would they say that?" So she's like, "Actually, it's only 116." Anyways, it was wild. But yes, when you leave, things explode here in America. America breaks.
And listen, explode they did.
Yeah. So don't leave again. So anyway, we have a lot to get to, so we'll do a quick little rundown before we have our little chat. So back on July 13th, former President Donald Trump survived an attempt on his life. It happened during a campaign rally near Butler, Pennsylvania. So officials identified the shooter as a 20-year-old from Pennsylvania. They said that he fired from a roof that was about 150 yards away from the rally venue. One man was killed during in the shooting while shielding his family. 2 other people were hospitalized with critical injuries. Former President Trump said on social media that a bullet pierced the upper part of his right ear, but he is expected to be okay. So Secret Service officials said that the agency had identified the roof where the shooter fired towards Trump as a potential vulnerability before Trump even took the stage. 4 officials told NBC News that rallygoers first spotted the suspicious person pacing, behaving strangely near metal detectors, and spotted him on the roof. They even flagged local police officers, but they were unable to stop the shooting. The shooter was killed by the Secret Service moments later. So since then, Kimberly Cheadle, the now former director of the Secret Service, has come under fire, admitting that there was a lapse in security. She has since stepped down from her position in the midst of multiple investigations into the assassination attempt. Secret Service Deputy Director Ronald Rowe has now been tapped as acting director. So just 8 days after that shooting, President Joe Biden dropped major news that he'd be terminating his bid for re-election. So in a statement he wrote, "I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down. The resignation comes after weeks of disapproval and urges from dozens of Democratic leaders for Biden to step aside."
Now, shortly after stepping down from the presidential race, Biden made another announcement on Sunday, endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris to be the Democratic nominee. Harris accepted Biden's endorsement later that day, posting a statement on X that read, in part, quote, "My intention is to earn and win this nomination." It wasn't long before the Democratic Party coalesced behind Harris. Just 1 day into her campaign, enough delegates have stood behind her to secure her nomination, and according to the Associated Press, Harris is breaking fundraising records after her team raised more than $81 million in 24 hours. It's important to note, though, that she won't be the official Democratic nominee until the party formalizes the nomination through a virtual roll call vote set to happen by August 7th, before the Democratic National Convention takes place in Chicago later that month. So far, Harris has no opposition. Harris already made history as the first woman, Black person, or person of South Asian descent to serve as vice president. And if her nomination is solidified, she would become the first Black woman to represent a major party on a presidential ballot. And if she's elected, she would be the first woman of color to be president of the United States. So that's a huge
It's a big deal. So much happened. Have to talk about all of it. But yes, absolutely. That is a big deal. And who am I? I'm not a political analyst, but I think she has a chance, especially with the way Gen Z is acting.
I think so too. I mean, we know a nonpartisan research group that's based in Tufts University released a study that said that basically 40 million or 41 million Gen Z voters are now part of the electorate, and nearly half of these voters are people of color. So that in and of itself is like a huge thing. But in addition to that, we're seeing a lot of Gen Zs kind of rally behind Harris on social media, especially like as all of these celebrities are kind of starting to jump on the, politics bandwagon, even celebrities who aren't from the U.S. like Charlie XCX.
Yeah, because Kamala is brat. And I feel like, and people are probably thinking like, yeah, like she might be a meme, but memes don't win elections. And I'm like, well, for Gen Z, they might. I mean, I think something as simple as her being so likable and so funny and her relating to them on a certain level, her quoting padam, 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 padam.
Yeah.
Like, for like some people, like that's enough. They feel seen. And I know there was a study recently that came out that said Gen Z don't feel a part of the conversation. I know they said Gen Z makes up 9% of the total eligible voters in the U.S. now, and I believe back in 2020, 65% of them voted for Biden. So, I mean, they do have some pull there, and I feel like people should start, including them in the conversation, especially like when it comes to debates and stuff. They're like, I don't know what they're debating about. I don't care what they're debating about. I need to hear about stuff that impacts me. So I feel like she knows that, and I feel like she's trying to appeal to that, and I feel like that's really smart if she wants to win.
I'm excited to see like where the support's going to come from. Like you had mentioned, like just in one day raising $81 million. That's a huge amount of money. I mean, that's like so much money that's going to be able to help her campaign out. So I'm just interested to see how it's going to end up unfolding over the next few weeks or so, and just to see like what happens,
Absolutely. And I think something else that, is very much should be part of this conversation, another survey kind of came out and said that Gen Z voters are more likely to be LGBTQ than to be Republican. And that's a huge kind of aspect of this to consider too, because in the past, Kamala Harris and the Biden administration has been more of like an ally to the queer community in the United States than Trump and the Trump administration when he was in office. So I'm just interested to see kind of how this continues. But as of now, I don't know about y'all, but my social media has been flooded with so many people around our age just kind of being excited for what feels like the first time in a long time to have conversations about politics and being excited to actually go out and vote. So I for one, am really excited.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what happens. And like you said, they definitely have been seeing a lot of people excited. Hopefully on the Culture Report, we'll be bringing some political experts, analysts. We're trying to make this happen.
Break it down a little bit.
The things that you guys care about, the stuff that we care about, things that we're confused about, because politics can be confusing, but it doesn't need to be.
Can be confusing. Thousands of Palestinians were uprooted after Israel's military ordered part of its so-called humanitarian zone in the Gaza Strip to evacuate Monday, according to the Associated Press, saying it is planning an attack against Hamas militants there. The tent camps at the humanitarian zones, quote, lack sanitation and medical facilities and have limited access to aid, per AP. Now, regions of Khan Yunis, the city people had been moving to since May to escape Israel's attacks on Rafah, were covered by the new order. Gaza's health ministry says at least 70 people were killed when Israeli airstrikes hit around Khan Yunis on the same day as the evacuation order. A second strike outside a Deir al-Balaj hospital killed one person and wounded 3. More than 39,000 Palestinians have been killed in the 9 months since Israel's war on Hamas started after the militant group's October 7th attack on southern Israel, in which 1,200 people were killed and 250 were taken hostage. Meanwhile, negotiations are ongoing as the United States, Egypt, and Qatar urge Israel and Hamas to reach a ceasefire and hostage release. Monday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrived at the United States to speak with President Joe Biden and address Congress. Protesters against the war in Gaza held a sit-in at a congressional office Tuesday. Jewish Voices for Peace, the organizers, released a statement saying 400 people, including over a dozen rabbis, were arrested.
And most of us have now seen or at least heard of the incident where Terrell Davis was placed in handcuffs on a United plane. The former star running back for the Denver Broncos was on a flight with his wife and children, flying from Denver to California when this happened. Davis said that he tapped a flight attendant on the shoulder to get his attention to ask for a cup of ice for his son. The attendant shouted, "Don't hit me," and went to another part of the plane. When the plane landed, the captain told everybody to stay in their seats, and that's when Davis was approached by FBI agents. Shortly after being taken off of the plane and questioned, TD was released after agents determined that the flight attendant was, quote, inaccurate in his accusations. So I think the most troubling thing with this situation for me is that this father, this husband, was taking his family on a trip, taking them on vacation to have a good time. Mm-hmm. And now they have this lasting image of their father being handcuffed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and being taken off the plane, and for what reason? He said in an interview with CBS Mornings, I believe, that he felt so powerless and so, like, there was nothing he can do in that situation.
I will say, like, from his accounts at least, and from what law enforcement said, he did everything right. I know that we're taught, especially as black men these days, it's like, okay, well, do everything you can to de-escalate the situation. If police are involved, go willingly, don't fight back, don't argue. Things will hopefully work itself out. And I think that's what he did, because, like, it could have gotten worse. It could have been worse. We see that it could have been worse. But, yeah, I think that's probably as good as it could have gone. I know there are some cases where, like, he may not have done anything. And if the law enforcement weren't understanding, or if they were biased, this would have ended much differently, but it didn't. So I think that, I mean, kind of shame on the flight attendant or whoever, the flight crew, for whatever that was about. That was kind of crazy. But just as black men, you have to move differently, because even if you're not meaning to be aggressive, if I come over here and reach for you, some people think I'm trying to attack them. When, like, girl, I'm trying to grab my jacket from the back of the chair, and you think I'm attacking you just because of your preconceived notions and your internal biases. So, you just have to move differently, and I feel like this is definitely indicative of that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that your insight is so valuable in, you know, adding context to, you know, this story. And I also agree with you, DeMarco. I think that, you know, him being there with his family and just knowing that they're witnessing the situation and asking themselves, like, what's going on? Like, why are they taking my dad out in handcuffs? It's just not an ideal situation in any way. And so, yeah, it's just very unfortunate that happened.
Yeah.
And we want justice for Sonya Massey.
Justice for Sonya Massey. Justice for Sonya Massey.
Right. Outrage is growing worldwide after body cam footage was released showing the moment a woman was shot and killed by a deputy in Springfield, Illinois. So before we show you clips of the footage, we want to warn you that parts of the video may be disturbing to watch, and we won't be showing the actual shooting. So this happened back on July 6th when Sonya Massey, a 36-year-old black woman, called 911 with concerns of an intruder in her home. This is body cam footage showing the moments before two deputies entered Massey's home. So it comes from the body camera footage of the second deputy on scene. The call escalated quickly after one of the deputies asked her to check on a pot that was on the stove, and she does.
Huh?
Where you going?
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from my hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
I
rebuke you in the name of
You better not. I swear to God, I'll you straight in your face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Drop the pot! Drop the pot!
Deputy Sean Grayson then drew his gun and fired 3 shots, one striking Massey in the face. He's since been fired from the sheriff's office, which said that he did not act as trained or in accordance with their standards. Last week, a grand jury indicted Grayson on 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of each aggravated battery with a firearm and official misconduct. Massey's family held a news conference alongside their civil rights attorney, Ben Crump. He promised to hold the sheriff's office accountable for the family and the community. Right now, the U.S. Department of Justice is investigating the shooting. And I will say, I feel like this happened rather quickly, and I can't say that this would have happened 5 years ago or just a handful of years ago. And I feel like it's happening so frequently now. And there's been so much like public outcry that they know like this won't get swept under the rug.
Totally. And I think the point that you make is very true. In a lot of the police brutality instances that we've seen in the past years, unfortunately, sometimes the process to get to justice takes years and years, and sometimes there never really even is justice. So seeing this is kind of symbolic of hope, or that there's progress being made, but at the same time, the fact that it's still happening is just so disheartening. Watching that video, I genuinely could not believe my eyes. And I know her father also spoke, and just like seeing him talk about it's just the disbelief. Everyone who I've seen kind of speak publicly about this shares that same like air of disbelief that this is even still happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really disheartening to see something like this. And when I did initially see this, I was like, what? Like, this happened recently?
Yeah.
And it's like, there needs to be other things in place where escalation is not the first thing.
It's like, I don't know why the first thing reach for is a gun. I mean, I feel like that was clearly just bad judgment on the officer's part.
Well, the thing that scared me the most was, like, even though the officer, yes, had a fatal shot to this person in their head, but when I was watching this video, I heard the officer say, like, don't grab, like, the medical gear. Like,
yeah, they
like,
were saying, like, oh, I'm going to go grab the kid. They're like, oh, well, you can if you want to, but, like, nah, she's done or whatever.
Yeah.
But then, like, after, like, a 45 seconds to a minute, he was like, oh, actually, she's still breathing, so maybe you should go get it. I'm like, what is... I was like, there's so many things that went wrong there, and I feel like this continues to happen. And I know a lot of people are trying to say, like, oh, well, this was race-related, and, like, half the people are saying, like, oh, no, it's not. She shouldn't have done this, or she shouldn't have done that. This isn't race-related. I'm like, race-related or not, like, this should not be happening.
Period.
That should not have gone down like that at all. And the fact that she called them there because she needed help, and then she ended up getting killed, like... This is why there's such a lack of trust in police. It's like, I could be calling for you to help me.
Yeah.
And then you're shooting, you kill me just because you're scared. Like, you're trained to, like, handle situations like that, to de-escalate. So I don't know how that happened. But race or not, that shouldn't happen. I don't really care what color it was. I mean, I do feel like it happens disproportionately to black people.
Absolutely.
And that's definitely a reality. I don't know what needs to happen, whether it be harsher penalties or different training or what's going on, but something clearly needs to change, and I feel like we can't ignore that.
No, absolutely not.
So yeah, we'll definitely stay updated on that trial and what's going on, and bring you guys updates whenever it happens.
Absolutely.
For sure.
From July 2021 to June 2022, 2,532 individual books were banned in school districts around the country. PhD student Katie Spoon at the University of Colorado in Boulder found some eye-opening trends in what books are being banned. Spoon's study found that half of the books banned were children's books about historical figures or featuring diverse characters, including LGBTQ+ and people of color. Also noted in the findings were that minority women were more likely to have their books banned compared to white authors.
And the nominations for the 2024 Emmys were announced last week, and artists of color got the flowers they deserve, with 30 receiving nominations. That's 5 more than last year. Quinta Brunson, Ayo Edebiri, Selena Gomez, and Maya Rudolph were nominated for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series, making this the first time ever that women of color make up the majority of nominations in any lead acting category, according to Variety. Aside from her acting nomination, Gomez also became the most Emmy-nominated Latina producer for her role as executive producer in the show Only Murders in the Building. Sofia Vergara became the first Latina in Emmy's history to be nominated for Best Lead Actress in a limited or anthology series or movie for her role in the Netflix show Griselda. And another first for Indigenous artists, nominations in the Supporting Actress category for Kaylee Reese and Lily Gladstone, who uses non-binary pronouns, mark the first time Indigenous people have been nominated for acting Emmys in a women's category per Variety. Most of the AAPI acting nominees were part of Shogun, a Japanese series that topped the list across all categories with a total of 25 nominations. It is now the second series in a language other than English to be nominated in the Best Drama category. Now let's hop into our good news of the week. Starting strong with Colombian singer Karol G, the first Latina to ever headline a global stadium tour, wrapped up the record-breaking Mañana Será Bonito tour in Spain, making history again. The star became the first artist to sell out 4 shows at the Santiago Bernabéu Stadium in Madrid, according to Billboard. In 2023, Karol G's Mañana Será Bonito became the first album in Spanish to top the Billboard 200 list.
And the Olympics are getting ready to hit the ground running this weekend. LeBron James was named the male flag bearer for the U.S. in the opening ceremony, making him the first men's basketball player to earn the honor. LeBron is the third USA basketball member, joining the greats Sue Bird and Don Staley. But that's not it. Tennis star and current U.S. Open champion Coco Gauff was selected as the female flag bearer for Team USA. She'll become the first tennis athlete to carry the U.S. flag and is also the youngest.
Okay, Coco. All right, and Mattel is adding a couple new Barbies to its inclusive line of toys. The newest additions are a blind Barbie equipped with a cane and Braille writing on the packaging. Love that. Along with a black doll with Down syndrome. The dolls were created in partnership with the National Down Syndrome Society and the American Foundation for the Blind. The toy company started creating its inclusive line of Barbies in 2016 after years of criticism for its dolls that reinforce traditional beauty standards. So,
I love that
shout
so
out
much.
to Mattel. Y'all ate that up. Just saying, they did have one with Down syndrome before, but she was white. So they said, you know what, let's expand this even more. We love it, the subtle growth. Also, has Shakira not done a global... when I read your story, I was like, oh my God, Karol G is eating.
Not according to Billboard.
That's insane.
I honestly had no idea. And the fact that she sold out like the Santiago Bernabéu Stadium, it's a huge stadium in Spain. Like it's a really big deal. And this tour and her album Mañana Será Bonito broke so many other records. I just couldn't fit it in the script. But she is really killing it. And I love that she's Colombian.
Shout out my girl, Karol G.
Yes.
That's my
real.
homegirl, period. I need to catch it. Take me to a show.
I will. Come to
She's
Colombia.
also taking me to Colombia. Y'all heard it here first. She's taking me to Colombia and she's
Marco,
letting
you
me
can
stay
come
with
too.
her. She let me stay with her.
Yes, let's all go to Colombia and watch Karol G. And maybe if Shakira is in town, we can catch up with her too.
Period. All right.
Period.
Thank you guys so much for joining this week's Culture Report. We'll be back to continue the conversation right here on 9 News Plus and 9news.com.